Where is Kristine Barnett now? All about her life over a decade after accusing adopted daughter Natalia Grace of being an adult. When Kristine Barnett accused her 8-year-old adopted daughter Natalia Grace of masquerading as an adult, it sounded like something straight out of a horror movie. But the Indiana mom was adamant that the Ukrainian child she and her husband, Michael Barnett, adopted in 2010 was actually a 22-year-old woman who had threatened to harm them and their 3 biological children. The couple also accused Grace, who has a rare form of dwarfism called spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita, of attempting to kill Kristine. In 2012, she and Michael had Grace's age legally changed from 8 to 22, a decision Kristine claimed on Facebook that law enforcement had recommended. In 2013, the Barnett family moved to Canada without Grace, leaving her alone in an apartment in Lafayette. And 6 years later, Michael and Kristine were charged with multiple counts of neglecting a dependent, but neither was convicted, per WTHR. Grace later agreed to a DNA test while filming the 2024 ID docuseries, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. Natalia speaks. The results found that she was 22 years old, which suggests she was 9 years old when she was adopted by Michael and Kristine. Now Grace's case is getting the silver screen treatment, with Hulu's Good American Family premiering on March 19. Kristine is played by Ellen Pompeo, Michael by Mark Duplass, and Grace by newcomer Imogen Faith Reed. As her case gets renewed attention, where is Kristine Barnett now? Here's everything to know about what happened to Natalia Grace's former adoptive mother and what she said about the evidence that refutes her accusations. Kristine Barnett was a mom of 3 boys living in Indiana when she and her then-husband Michael adopted Grace in 2010. She's also an author and published a memoir in 2014 titled The Spark, a mother's story of nurturing, genius, and autism, in which she claimed her son Jacob had an IQ higher than Einstein's and a photographic memory. After Kristine and Michael legally changed Grace's age, moved her into an apartment, and left for Canada, the couple were charged with multiple counts of neglecting a dependent in 2019. Michael told police that Kristine advised their adopted daughter to tell anyone who asked that she was 22 and looked young for her age, per the Journal and Courier. Michael was found not guilty of 3 counts of neglect and conspiracy to commit neglect of a dependent in 2022, the Associated Press reported. In 2023, charges against Kristine in connection with the abandonment of Grace were dismissed. In February 2014, a year after they left Grace in an apartment in Indiana and moved to Canada, Michael filed for divorce, per the Journal and Courier. When Grace confronted her former adoptive father face-to-face 10 years later, in the curious case of Natalia Grace, he claimed that he was manipulated and mistreated by his now ex-wife. "I had the same monster you did," Michael said in the docuseries. "I was exceptionally controlled and put down and threatened, was minimalized. Anything that was who I was ripped from me, and I was guided and instructed to be exactly what she wanted me to be." Like Michael, Grace also claimed that she was abused by Kristine in the curious case of Natalia Grace. She alleged that her former adoptive mother Pepper sprayed her multiple times and hit her with a belt. Kristine did not appear in the series, but she addressed and denied the accusations from Grace and Michael in a 2024 Facebook post. "Natalia was a very much loved and cared for member of my family," she wrote, adding that the abuse allegations against her were just plain false. Kristine continued, "If there had been any abuse of Natalia or evidence of it, I would have been found guilty of it, and I would be in jail." The Indiana mom of 3 also called Grace a sociopath who takes advantage of people's sympathies towards her and uses it to manipulate them. Kristine alleged that she came to this conclusion through multiple hospital visits and therapy appointments in an effort to understand her former adopted daughter. Michael Barnett and Natalia Barnett may have the same monster, but that monster is not me, Kristine wrote. That monster, whether it's mental illness, sociopathy, or whatever it actually is, may be different for each of them. But it's within their own psyche. Kristine has maintained her innocence since the ID docuseries and Hulu's 2025 limited drama, Good American Family, have drawn more attention to Grace's case. She wrote on Facebook in May 2024 that the trendiness of pretending to care about Natalia has died down, and the people left were truly pathetic. "You did not actually care," Kristine wrote in the post. "You only wanted to bully a mother." Over a decade has passed since Kristine Barnett found herself at the center of a bizarre and gripping national controversy, one that blurred the line between reality and fiction, love and suspicion, parenthood and paranoia. Now in 2025, Kristine lives a life very different from the one she once cherished in Indiana, where she had gained acclaim as an author, autism advocate, and the devoted mother of a prodigy. The whirlwind of the Natalia Grace saga, however, changed everything. Kristine now resides in a modest coastal town in the Pacific Northwest, far from the media spotlight that once devoured her name. Gone are the lavish speaking engagements and glowing interviews that followed the release of her memoir, The Spark, a story once hailed as a testament to motherly love and genius nurturing. Her days now begin quietly, coffee brewed in a French press, a battered copy of Rilke's letters to a young poet opened on her kitchen counter, and a long walk along the shoreline where she watches sea otters roll in the surf like children at play. The past is a ghost that walks beside her, invisible but ever present. It's impossible to discuss Kristine Barnett's present without confronting the extraordinary claims that shattered her family. In 2010, Kristine and her then-husband Michael adopted Natalia Grace, a Ukrainian-born girl with a rare form of dwarfism. Doctors estimated her to be around 6 years old. But within months, Kristine became convinced that Natalia was not a child at all, but an adult masquerading as one, a sociopath, even in the vein of the thriller Orphan. The claims made headlines, casting a dark fairy tale over their family, that Natalia tried to poison Kristine, stood over them with knives, and left feces in inappropriate places as a form of psychological warfare. Many didn't know what to believe. Was Kristine an unhinged mother with an overactive imagination, or was she protecting her family from a real threat? The legal saga that followed was no less surreal. In 2013, Kristine and Michael legally changed Natalia's birth year from 2003 to 1989, effectively aging her out of the foster care system. They then moved to Canada, leaving Natalia alone in an apartment in Indiana. The courts eventually charged the Barnetts with neglect, igniting a media firestorm. By 2020, public interest in the case had reached fever pitch. Documentaries, tabloid headlines, and internet sleuths fueled the fire, each more salacious than the last. But as the years have passed and the dust has settled, the question remains, who is Kristine Barnett now? In her quiet coastal town, locals know her simply as Kay. She teaches writing workshops at the library twice a week. She bakes cinnamon rolls for neighborhood children. Her smile is generous, but her eyes are tired, perhaps from age or from years of watching her name pass like a cautionary tale through internet threads. She doesn't give interviews anymore. She turned down a Netflix docuseries last year and sent back a request from a true crime podcast unopened. What she will share, in rare moments of vulnerability with those close to her, is this: the truth is complicated. And sometimes it's stranger than fiction. Her relationship with her biological children, once her pride and joy, is strained but healing. Jacob Barnett, the math prodigy she once championed, now works in theoretical physics. He is kept largely out of the public eye, and while their communication was once severed completely, recent birthdays have been marked by tentative phone calls and handwritten cards signed "Love Always, Mom." The weight of public judgment left deep grooves in Kristine's life, grooves she has filled not with vindication, but with slow, quiet acts of service. She volunteers at a shelter for women escaping domestic violence. She donates anonymously to organizations supporting children with disabilities. There's something almost penitential in her kindness, like she's making amends, even if she still believes she did the right thing. As for Natalia Grace, she too has told her story, on camera, through intermediaries, and with a poise that surprised many. She maintains that she was a child at the time of the adoption, that she wanted nothing more than a family, and that she was abandoned by the very people who were supposed to protect her. Kristine has watched those interviews. She doesn't dispute everything, but she does shake her head at the notion of Natalia as a pure victim. She was not what we were told, Kristine once said to a trusted confidant. And I wish, God, I wish, someone would try to see how terrifying it was. When you love a child and fear them at the same time, it unravels your soul. In 2023, the charges against Kristine were quietly dropped. By then, public opinion had splintered into 100 different narratives, each more contradictory than the last. Some call her a monster. Others believe she was gaslit by a broken system.